income from the sector for over 6 months.
This is the only sector of the economy that still remains in forced lockdown.
We invite you to support this sector by raising awareness of its workers and their families.
Thank you.
Proudly supported by News Talk.
The mightiest heroes. The greatest action.
I could do this all day.
The best of Marvel.
Yeah!
Assembled on Disney Plus.
Good luck keeping up.
Avengers, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Ant-Man, Black Panther, Captain Marvel.
Anyone else?
Unleash the universe.
Oh, I've missed this.
Disney Plus, the home of Marvel. All these and more now streaming. 18 plus subscription required. T's and C's apply.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power. Fueling the mischief in the beautiful game. Gamble responsibly. See dunlewy.net.
All right, so AC Milan leading Shamrock Rovers by 1-0 in Tala. Who else but Zlatan Ibrahimovic with the goal just a few minutes ago. 27 minutes gone there. We will check in with Stephen Doyle at half-time. But it is almost 7:30 on a Thursday. And a former Rovers man, John Giles, is on the line. Evening, John.
Evening, Nathan.
I know you can't watch the game at the moment. It actually started quite well. Shamrock Rovers had a really good chance, but AC Milan dominating possession and Zlatan getting the goal is again Rovers have a good chance. Aaron Green, but big night. Just such a shame that it's not a packed house in Tala for us.
Yeah. Well, no crowd anyway.
No crowd. It's a terrible shame. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Yes.
You did see a lot over the weekend, though. The Premier League is back and. Well, Leeds United, another of your old sides, certainly acquitted themselves well, put it right up there to Liverpool, but eventually going down to a 4-3 defeat. Did you see enough from Leeds to suggest they'll be okay this season?
Yeah, I think so, Nathan. There's one thing for sure with Bielsa. He's not going to play defensively against anybody.
No.
Nathan. And I think he took Liverpool by surprise. To be quite honest, Liverpool didn't play particularly well on the day, but he still scored 4 goals. But I think Leeds will cause a few upsets, or could cause a few upsets over the year, over the season, Nathan, yeah.
They were incredibly brave in possession as well. Like, they had a game plan. They knew exactly where they wanted to pick Liverpool apart, but to go and do it at Anfield on the first day and to have the range of passing that they had was hugely impressive. Yeah,
well, most teams don't go to Anfield with that plan, if you call it a plan. I think he's like that. I think home or away, he's going to play the same way. And I think if he gets the goals that everybody needs and matches, I know he signed a couple of players, then I think they'll do okay. You'd be looking at mid-table because they're not going to give up against anybody if they can go to Liverpool and do what they did. I think they took Liverpool by surprise on the day, attacking them. There's very few teams go to attack Liverpool, but they weren't scared of that. And I mean, apart from the penalty at the end, it was a forward, wasn't it, Nathan? That gave the penalty away.
It was the substitute,
the most stupid penalty I've ever seen in my life. To get a draw there, but I think if they can get the goals, like most teams, you obviously have to get goals. I think their attitude was good, their approach was good, and to take on a team like Liverpool took a bit of courage to do so. So I think he's no short of courage, Bielsa, that's for sure.
The questions about Liverpool then, because after the restart, okay, the title was pretty much won, but they were conceding more goals, they were making more mistakes, and that continued into that game on the opening day. And your thoughts on then what teams should do, because the obvious thought will be after Leeds go and attack and ask questions, that's what other teams should do. But I guess Leeds, as you say, are set up like that all the time. They're always going to be brave and try and take the game. If a Newcastle or a West Ham, who traditionally would sit back,
yes.
If they try and suddenly go and get at Liverpool, are they on a hiding to nothing?
I think so, because they wouldn't believe in what they were doing if they were attacking, Nathan. You know what I mean? In other words, we're not allowed to attack, and if it's still no score, we're doing well. I think that has been the approach of a lot of teams going to Anfield, whereas Bielsa is a different animal to anybody else, Nathan, in the way he approaches the game. There's nothing surer than that. And I think, we saw him last year against Arsenal away in the Cup, and the first 45 minutes they played Arsenal off the pitch. They didn't score. They deserved to score, didn't score. I think that's what happened to them a lot last year. And they finished up losing the game. But the first half, they played Arsenal off the pitch, United, you know?
Yeah.
And
they ran out of steam a bit.
They won't. I don't think they'll sit back with any of the teams, and I think that took Liverpool by surprise. And in Liverpool's case, we've had all this fuss over the lack of football and everything else. But it's a long time since they won it, Nathan. Since Liverpool actually won it. Now, I know they had quite a few matches afterwards, but I go on my experience at Leeds when we won the league in 68-69. We actually went till the second last match of the season before winning it. But when the next season started, and it comes around very quickly, it took us a long time to get the attitude that we had in the last 8 to 10 matches of the season, Nathan. Because when you're going for it, you can't contrive the excitement, what you have to do in that. Because once the season starts again, in my time it was 42 matches, you knew you had a whole season in front of you. So you don't have that energy and that go in you that you did in going into to win the league. So it's no coincidence with Liverpool. Once they won it, even before the lockdown, Nathan, like after that they didn't play well at all. By their standards. Once they won the Premiership, at that time, because you can't contrive. You can't say, well, no, this is the first match of the season or the second match of the season, because you've got a lot of matches to go before you can win it. Yeah. Rather than the last 8 to 10 matches where you have to. Well, Liverpool's case they didn't have to win it, but they had to get those points to finish it off, which they did. But once they finished it off, there was a slump. And I think it's not unusual, Nathan. In my experience with it, I think it took us nearly till Christmas before we really got going in a way that we had been going for the last 8 to 10 matches.
Yeah, it's an interesting point because even, as you say, after they clinched the title, there was a bit of a slump, particularly at the back. But even the few games after lockdown, as they were waiting to win it, everybody knew they were going to win the title. It was just a matter of when. Yes. So they haven't really had a match with pressure, with a lot riding on it, probably since back in March, since they were knocked out of the Champions League by Atletico Madrid. So for them to get back into that groove and intensity that's needed, is it understandable that it might take a few matches? Well, I can only give you my experience on it, and obviously it was a different time, Nathan, but we had to go at Leeds in 1968-69 when we won it. We had to go until the second last match of the season because Liverpool were chasing us, and we had Liverpool at Anfield. And if Liverpool beat us at Anfield, it would have gone to the last match of the season, where we would have had to win it. We were a home match against Notts Forest. We got a point at Liverpool to win it. But up to that, we had to go in every match we played. It became a little bit of a joke with Don and the lads. You say, if we get anything today, I think we'll win it. So when we got to Liverpool, it was true. We needed a draw at Liverpool to win it. So it did. His G'ing up had to come through at Liverpool. In other words, if we got something at Liverpool, I think we'll win it. You did win it.
But the start of the next season, Nathan, comes around very quickly. It took us ages to get going again with that intensity that you need. That's there when you're going for the league, or the league in our day, now in the Premiership. So it might take Liverpool a couple of games, just a couple of, kick up the backsides to really get going again. Because I think Leeds, to be fair to Leeds and Liverpool, I think Leeds took Liverpool and a lot of people totally by surprise with their approach.
What about Virgil van Dijk then and the mistake he made? Because there were mistakes again towards the end of the season, and here you've spoken enough about him over the last couple of years for people to know how highly you rate him. Would you have any concerns about those type of mistakes and the casualness that's appeared in his game?
Well, he plays in that manner. I think he's a very, very confident lad, Nathan, and I think sometimes a little bit overconfident. I mean, obviously the other day he should have got the ball away. But I think when you're used to playing it out from the back and playing it in the way that he does, it's sometimes very difficult to pick the exact time to get it up into the stand. And it could well be with him, the bit of complacency that, well, here we go again. It's like this time last year they played Norwich, who had just been promoted and hammered them, I think it was 4-1 at that time. And I think Leeds did take them by surprise.
Yeah.
Took me by surprise, actually, Nathan, in the way that they had to go at Liverpool.
Looking at some of the other results of the weekend, then our commentary game was Everton's win against Tottenham, and it's hard to think of too many more impressive Everton performances in recent times. The signings that Carlo Ancelotti has made, James Rodriguez, one of the more exciting of pre-season. Alan came in the middle of midfield. Decore, they look a transformed team. Would you look at that Everton side and think maybe they could put a bit of pressure on for a top 6?
Well, I definitely, Nathan. You know, they got players in now, and I think the big thing with Everton over the years, they've had a director of football. I think the owner thought, well, we'd get the manager in and it'll be the coach. I don't think the managers up to Ancelotti in recent times have been picking the players, Nathan, in the transfer market, actually picking them in. So I think the owner must have thought, well, we've tried all that. Let's see what the manager... And I think Ancelotti would have gone to him as a very experienced manager and insisted, or give me a chance to bring my players in. Who would know the players better than him, Nathan? And he brought those 3 or 4 players in there that you mentioned. Really, really top-class players. Now, if you had a director of football, he mightn't look at them. In other words, I know I keep going on about it, but 90% of management of a team is getting rid of the players you don't want and getting the players in that you do want. Now, if you have a director of football and he's bringing in the players that he wants, it's not the same for the manager. All managers have a thing in their head, Nathan, of what they want and what they need and who they want, right?
Yeah.
And it's like fulfilling your dreams. This is what I need. This is what I want, and it's 90% of the job. Actually, in my opinion, it's 90% of the job, getting rid of the players you don't want and getting in the players you do. And I think the owner of Everton now has got fed up with the directors of football because the transfer system hasn't worked.
Yeah.
And I think Ancelotti said to him, right, now what we'll do is give me a chance to bring my players in. I mean, who knows the players better than this guy? Well, he's already managed some of these guys that he's brought in, Nathan.
Yeah, he had James Rodriguez at Real Madrid and got the best out of him, it seems, at Real Madrid, and also knows Alan from his days at Napoli. It does seem as though they have had a change in attitude as to that director of football role, because I know Marcel Brands is still there and that's his title, but when you compare to when Steve Walsh, who'd come from Leicester and was so highly rated after signing Riyad Mahrez and N'Golo Kante, it did seem as though he had all the power and he landed the likes of... whether it was, when they brought Rooney and Klaassen and players like that in. But Marcel Brands seems to maybe talk to the manager a bit more and give him that bit of influence.
Oh, I think there's no doubt about that, Nathan. I think it might have been one of the things that he insisted on when he was going in. I mean, he's a very experienced manager, and he knows exactly what the game is all about. You have to get in the players you want. You have to get rid of the players you don't want. I know I keep going on about it, but it's so important because everybody has a vision. All managers have a vision of what they want in their team. And the way to fulfill that vision, if that's the right word, is to get the players in you want. You have to say, well, I need him for that, him for that, him for that. And if somebody else is doing it, then, it just doesn't work. In my opinion, it doesn't work.
They've had all sorts of issues in midfield over the last 3 or 4 years. And listen, they're a club that have massively underachieved for the amount of money that have been spent, but it's been a bit of a graveyard for 30, 40 million pound midfielders. Alan has come in, and again, he probably doesn't fit into the model. He's 29. There's no real sell-on value in the next 3 or 4 years, but, geez, he ran the show.
You're talking about Alan?
Alan in midfield, yeah.
Yeah, and Rodriguez beside him. All of them, they were really, really good. He would know what these guys can do. And I think what's happened over the years, that, a lot of teams, which sounds great, will start getting the young fellas in, and like if you find in football, the future is today. You have to do it now, Nathan, with an eye to the future. Do you know what I mean? You can't say, well, in 5 years' time, this team will be doing this, that. I've never seen it work that way. I mean, Manchester United are doing it now, but they've got some experienced players as well, and they are getting outstanding players, but they still have to do it. Whereas there's nothing better than experienced players to bring some of these young players along, bring them along. And what you find with players, in my opinion, I think players are at the peak of their careers, Nathan, when they're 28, 29, 30, 31. And it depends then how long they can keep their fitness. And the top players get better and better every year, as long as the physical aspects are good. So signing a player for 27, that's great. He's at the peak of his career. And now they can actually do things straight away, not worrying about in 4 years' time or 5 years' time. It doesn't always work that way. And I think Ancelotti, again, is a really, really experienced manager. He's been around a long time. He knows exactly what the game is about and the players to get in.
We spoke last week about Seamus Coleman and how you felt he should have been in that Ireland team ahead of Matt Doherty. The two of them go head-to-head then on Sunday, and Coleman has one of his best performances for probably a couple of years. Is that reflective of the difference in quality that he's playing alongside? Because people have written Seamus Coleman off. He's lost a yard of pace, he's been caught out of position. Was Everton's decline in their struggles just a part of that? And actually, now that he has quality midfielders who, if he plays it into Alan, he knows the ball is going to stay. If he plays it to James Rodriguez, he knows he's not going to lose it and he's going to be out of position. Is his improvement down to Everton's improvement?
Definitely. I mean, you're only as good as the players you have around you, Nathan, And as you say, but first of all, I don't think Coleman was playing as badly as some people said he was. But he certainly wasn't playing as well as he could. But now that he's playing with better players, I mean, he had to mark Son who's one of the few wingers who was really, really good. And not only did that, attacked at the right time. He was excellent. And the whole Everton team were excellent. So obviously the better the players you play with, it makes it easier for each other. And, I think, Matt Doherty was on the opposition, who was a very, very good player. And in fact came up on the wrong side of Mourinho. Mourinho's hitting out again. I know we'll come to that in a minute, but I felt sorry for Matt Doherty. I think he said he didn't look fit or something like that,
Yeah.
And of course he couldn't take the blame himself. But Seamus Coleman's performance was outstanding, really outstanding. As the Everton performance was. I mean, Spurs are supposed to be one of the rated teams, but I thought they totally played them off the pitch.
Yeah, they did. The way you're talking then, when I'm talking about Everton finishing top six, you feel maybe even higher than that they can be aiming for?
Well, I wouldn't. There's a lot of good teams in it, Nathan. You've got Liverpool, Everton, Chelsea, and I know we'll be talking about Chelsea. But I wouldn't put it beyond them at all to finish in the top six. Right. If they do that and do it well, that's a big improvement on what they've been doing for the last few years.
Well, massive, yeah. Last season, 12th place finish, and
like a lot of money gone out. This looks like a team that can really play. And I think if they finish in the top six, it would be a definite improvement to go on and improve from there. You have to build from somewhere. Yeah.
We do want to talk about Spurs and Jose Mourinho. I need to take a quick break. Something else you might think about is actually we're going to be talking to Ian Wright after 8 o'clock. One of the things we were talking about was he was a player who liked to talk a lot when he was playing, get at the opposition centre-backs and try and rile them up. And we had a text in from Pat asking, who was the mouthiest player John played against, and did you ever go in for a bit of verbals yourself? So you can have a think about that during the ad break, John, and we'll come back to it in a couple of moments.
The mouthiest guy I played against. Okay.
The mouthiest guy you played against, yeah. All right, we'll take a quick break.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power, fueling the mischief in the beautiful game. Gamble responsibly. See dunlewy.net.
We all want to play our part in making Ireland a cleaner, greener place to live. So starting Monday on News Talk, in association with Repack, we're going green, and we want you to go green too. Over the next 2 weeks, we'll be exploring all of the different ways we can help protect our environment, looking at the best ways of cutting down our waste, sharing tips on recycling, and learning how we can all become more conscious of our consumption. Go green with News Talk, in association with Repack. Follow the movement on air and at newstalk.com/green.
At Leia Healthcare, we always want to give our members more. So now you get unrestricted access to a world of benefits that will help you stay healthy. From convenient video calls with a GP to get prescriptions online, to easy access to experts when you finally want to do something about your ropey knee or dodgy back. And if you do need to see someone urgently, our clinics are available for minor injuries, all without you needing to put your hand in your pocket. Let's stay on top of your health, in every way. Leia Healthcare, looking after you always. Insurance provided by Ellipse Insurance Limited, trading as Leia Healthcare. Leia Healthcare Limited, trading as Leia Healthcare, and Leia Life is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Unrestricted benefits are available until the end of December. Fair usage policy applies.
Check this out. Super Value's better than half price sale is now on with amazing offers. Like Charleville cheese, 320 to 340 gram range, now better than half price. Petit Falou small pots range, no added sugar 6-pack, now better than half price. Bird's Eye chicken burgers with golden whole grain 8-pack, now better than half price. And Comfort fabric conditioner range 36 wash, now better than half price. With hundreds more better than half price offers in store, it's got to be Super Value.
The Harvey Norman autumn sale must end soon, with deals across our entire range of furniture, bedding and homewares, with up to 50% off handmade sofas, dining tables from just $179, up to 60% off bed frames, and Irish-made roll-up mattress in a box from a low $159. Plus, save up to 50% on selected duvets and pillows, and rugs from a low €49. But hurry, the Harvey Norman furniture and bedding autumn sale must end soon.
Go! Get ready for a big weekend of live sport with Sky Sports and Sports Extra, half price for 6 months. Watch the Champions Cup with Leinster versus Saracens on BT Sport. And all 4 days of the US Open only on Sky Sports.
Absolutely superb.
Get Sky Sports and Sports Extra, half price for 6 months. Search Sky Sports Sale. New sports customers only. Standard pricing applies after 6 months or of cancelling one element of the bundle. Minimum term and further terms apply.
As we learn to live with COVID-19, sport and fitness for your family are more important than ever. At the Sport Ireland campus in Blanchardstown, our facilities aren't just for elite athletes, but the community as well. So, for European Week of Sport, we're hosting an open week from September 24th for families to try out a new sport and fitness experience together. So join Dad for gymnastics or Mum for rugby with over 20 different options. Check sportirelandcampus.ie for more.
The dictionary defines meetings as an assembly of people for a particular purpose. Oh, that sounds boring. But not at the Red Cow Moran Hotel. We've got over 30 mind-expanding, socially distanced, creative spaces to choose from in one of Dublin's best-known locations. No GPS needed. Make meetings matter at the Red Cow Moran Hotel.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power, fueling the mischief in the beautiful game. Gamble responsibly. See dunlewy.net.
Welcome back. John Giles is still on the line. It has gone half-time in Tala, where AC Milan lead Shamrock Rovers by 1-0. We'll be across to Stephen Doyle shortly there. Dundalk, meanwhile, still 1-0 up in Andorra against Interclub Descaldes. But Andy Boyle has just been sent off in the last couple of minutes for Dundalk. John, just before the break, I was asking you about the text that came in about the mouthiest players you had played against, because we're going to be talking to Ian Wright after 8 o'clock, who was admit himself that he had quite a lot to say to opposition defenders when he was playing. Are there people that stand out that maybe went a little bit too far, had a bit too much to say for themselves?
There was quite a few. The worst moment I came across was a lad called John Gilchrist at Colchester. Colchester we played against Colchester in the Cup. One of the biggest surprises ever in the Cup. They beat us 3-2, Nathan.
Right.
And I was just hoping in the match that we'd get a draw and bring him back to... He never stopped. And, of course, when they won, you have to take it, Nathan. You know? But I never had to go to... more mouthy than physical. You know?
Yeah.
When I didn't mind that.
And
but,
did he unsettle you that he was at you so much?
No, well, it would G you up a bit, you know, but
right.
it wouldn't put you off your game.
Right.
No. So I was at it a lot myself, but me and Bremner was a devil for us.
Oh yeah.
Oh, a devil for us. Yeah, he'd get anybody going, you know.
And what did he say?
Against Manchester City, and I got into a clash with Franny Lee. And, all the players come around. And the first player straight into my face was Mike Summerby.
Right.
You know, and my reaction was, you keep your effing nose out. And Billy says, have you seen the size of his nose, wee man? There's some terrible stuff. But Bremner was the like, if we were on the pitch, say, Peter, I remember playing against Peter Storey. Now, Peter Storey was a terrific player, hard nut. Never said a word. Man staring eyes he had, but really good at what he did. And playing at Highbury one day, and he says, what about this madman? He'd be between me and him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have you seen this madman, he says. He said, it was the man staring eyes, as if he wasn't there, you know what I mean? He said, seen the paper this morning, his missus has left him. And I think it was true. But he'd be in between us, like we wouldn't be talking to him, you know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, no, Billy was terrible at that.
And if Billy was still with us, God bless him, would he be saying the same about you? Would he be saying you had plenty to say for yourself?
I know, he'd want to take the credit for it.
Would he?
Oh, yeah.
He was delighted with himself.
Oh, Oh yeah. You couldn't say anything to Billy that upset him.
Right.
And he'd say anything to anybody. You know what I mean? He wasn't, and he was a terrific player himself. You see.
Yeah.
You know, because then the players that he was having a go at couldn't say, well, what about you? Well, you can't play, which he would say to some of the other players. You know.
Yeah.
Like he'd say to me, hey, wait, man, you've seen him there. He says, can't play, can he? See, of course, I'd say, no, of course he can't. But you know, whatever it might be. But there was always some going on, and some worse things than that as well. You know, in terms of when it was really, really bad.
Right.
And there was a lot of physical, apart from the verbal stuff, there was a lot of physical stuff in those days as well. You know.
Yeah, there sure was.
But your man John Gilchrist was the worst. He was a Scottish lad, and they were beating us, and they did beat us. So once you're beaten, you can't say anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he'd be throwing out loads of stick.
This is 1971. Colchester are 4th division side, and Leeds are very much the real deal. Like that.
It was one of the biggest upsets ever in the cup. And the thing was, it always lived with us, Nathan. That was in 1971, right? And when you see the BBC and thing doing the FA Cup, or whoever's doing it now, they beat us in 71. We won the cup in 72, and we were beaten in the final by Sunderland in 73.
Yeah.
Right. 72 is never mentioned. Never mentioned that we actually won, and that was when Colchester beat us in 71. The next time we lost in the cup was 2 cup finals later to Sunderland, but they'll always pick them out.
Yeah,
72 is never, and it was the Centenary Cup final that we won, never mentioned.
Yeah, and 70 comes up all the time as well, and the match against Chelsea. So it's it's unfortunate that that's the one they focus in on. Ian Wright said that actually the biggest insult he would give to centre backs is if he didn't say anything to them, if he just kept quiet. It'd be a sense he didn't respect them enough to actually have a go at them.
How does he know? He never did that.
I do want to touch on Spurs before we wrap up, because look, terrible start to the season. Jose Mourinho afterwards, as you say, questioned Matt Doherty's fitness, and in fairness, Doherty may not have been fully fit. He was just back when he was playing with Ireland, but that his side were lazy, which it very much fits in the Mourinho template now for Manchester United of, it's saying about me, this is all on the players.
Yeah, well, it looks that way, Nathan. You know, they're talking about what's his name coming in? Bale coming in. Maybe Dele Alli going out. But I didn't see the documentary. But what you read about the documentary, he wasn't praising the players again, Nathan. And I don't know why they did a documentary. It's a terrible situation to have people talking about, and Pochettino's going mad about himself. I don't blame it, because he got blamed for nearly enough blame for doing what he did. So a terrific job with them. But in Mourinho's case, they were poor. He said they were lazy, they were slow, they were lazy. And
is that always on the manager, John? Like, if the team is lazy, is that not down to the manager?
Of course it is. But nothing ever bad is down to Mourinho, Nathan. That's the point that I'm trying to make in a roundabout way here, is that he hits out. You know, Dele Alli, Matt Doherty, they're lazy. Like, well, you know, if they're not fit and they're lazy, he's the manager. He's responsible for it. Or he should take. Look, no problem taking responsibility when they were winning, Nathan. You know, and I've never known it to be good for a manager to criticise a team publicly. That's what he did at Manchester United. That's what he hits out when the team is not doing well. It's never his fault. So now whether Bale can make a difference, look like he's going there, we have to wait and see. But like from what Everton did to them on the weekend, it certainly wasn't good. And it wasn't as if, well, I must take responsibility for that. He doesn't do that. And if it keeps going the way it's going, it'll look like the Manchester United all over again. Where he falls out with the players, and he never get them back.
And they scraped through tonight in the Europa League, scored 2 late goals after their Bulgarian opposition had 2 players sent off, so it doesn't look as though it's getting any better quickly. We'll come back to Gareth Bale and some of the other big deals of the week next Thursday night, John, but great to talk to you as always.
Thanks, Nathan.
John Giles there, so lots more football to come over the next couple of hours. Mark Tighe, the author of Champagne Football, is coming up on the Football Show. We'll be across to Stephen Doyle in Tala where Shamrock Rovers are 1-0 down against AC Milan. But right after 8 o'clock, we're going to be talking to Ian Wright and Sol Campbell.
Let's face it, masks help prevent the spread of COVID-19. Wear a mask. From News Talk.
Luke Saunders here, teacher and founder of Ireland's largest study and teaching website, studyclicks.ie. Over 150,000